here.
AC. I got it.
AC
live.
blasting. Music is bumping.
It's not live yet. Oh, it is live.
It's going off.
We're live.
Wait, it's staying on.
We're back. GQ review. What's going on with our best friend Pat? What's going on, Grant?
What's
Dude,
going
almost
on?
There's a lot of
you almost
yelling.
fumbled it. Who's yelling?
We all are. We're excited. That was, I saw some sound waves going crazy. And we were having a good time in the intro. You gotta hype yourself up. You gotta just yell. When's the last
It's
time
a
you-
normal intro. That was the normal intro. We didn't do anything there.
We didn't
That's
do
just-
anything before.
That's
this.
the stock intro that comes with StreamYard.
So if someone goes to YouTube after this is over and they check out the first 15 seconds of this video,
You can check if you know any podcast that uses StreamYard and uses that countdown, you'll get the same kind of hype.
Okay.
Harmonies.
Do you have any
They harmonies
recommendations?
of
GQ
podcasts
Review?
that use that? Yeah, GQ Review.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Trace Amigos. Review.
Oh, okay.
It's a really good
yeah,
one,
yeah. Oh,
too.
that one. Yeah, review.
Yeah.
I got that.
Movie
It's
review
actually-
with friends.
That one is actually might be my top 3 out of the 3 we just listed. Definitely one of
movie reviews with friends.
Over
And-
under
and-
IMDb ratings.
that.
Patented
You know
media
that one
reviews.
top 250, sometimes bottom 100. That's
It's an interesting take.
I know, right? Like and you never know what they're gonna do.
They're
Wild
wild
cards.
and zany and
Yeah. Sometimes they just pick a movie too.
Huh. Wow.
they
Mavericks.
don't listen to the rules. Wow, they're like rule breakers.
Yeah, they'll just roll the dice or something. It's kind of crazy.
No respect.
No respect. Well, would any of these zany, wild rule breakers have any updates? Have any sponsors? It's kind of been a quiet week. at least for me.
LaCroix.
If I don't like LaCroix, can that be an anti-sponsor? Does it like cancel out?
Can't stop. Pat,
I don't.
you
want
like
them.
LaCroix?
No.
All right. So
I
then
guess
no.
it's 2v1.
You're canceled out. Do you hear that, LaCroix? Just send them to the Cleveland addresses, not the LA one.
Thanks for the
Thank
check.
you. Thanks. I like how you got me the pure unflavored one.
What does that mean?
It's no flavor.
Aren't they all no flavor?
What?
Thought it was just sparkling water. Why would they
You
have a
had
flavor?
LaCroix? They're all flavored.
I stopped drinking it first time I had it.
When did you have it though?
Probably like 10 years ago at Grant's house or something.
Yeah, it's like a.
It's like it's an adult thing.
like a beverage, like
Mhm.
an
Like a
alcoholic
bevy.
drink.
It's a bevy.
But normally is it flavored? Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all every flavor
That you
imaginable.
rarely see it appear like
pure.
unflavored.
Okay,
Normally, like pamplemousse, it's probably one of the most famous.
that's a flavor.
Grapefruit.
Pamplemousse.
They've also got Knuckle Knocker.
No,
Coconut.
limoncello. Knock. Yeah, that one's really good. The knuckle knocker.
Persimmons.
They have nutty fuddy. It's almond flavor. You would think it is peanut flavor, but it's not. It's almond.
Are you telling the truth right now, man?
They've got Robot Ranch, which is weird.
That one you would think is it's like it's not buttermilk ranch, which would be like obviously not good, but since it's robot ranch, it's kind of more like a metallic. It kind of tastes like metal.
I'm gonna put a stop. Put a stop. To
With a little dill.
Yeah, the dill. That's the thing. The dill really comes through. And did you know the number one selling potato chip in Canada is dill pickle? Did I make that up?
It's really good. I had that before. It's tasty.
No, what's the
For the past
no,
5
ketchup,
minutes, Grant
ketchup.
only said
There's
lies.
ketchup. No, there's a different flavor. It's called like it's barbecue plus salt and vinegar. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, it's like the
Yeah.
spicy. Not
Yeah.
spicy, but like
Quinn.
zesty barbecue.
Hey, Jamie, look up salt and vinegar plus barbecue potato chips.
All dressed
Jamie.
chips.
Yes. I think that's the best selling in Canada.
They just put everything they have in
all
a bag.
dressed.
All dressed.
A blend of salty, savory, and sweet flavors, all at the same time. Think salt and vinegar, ketchup and barbecue, all rolled together. That's
All right.
actually, the
Jamie,
one's
number
with
one.
ketchup.
Till? Oh.
Oh wait, but no, this is just a list. This isn't like a quantitative list.
In Canada.
Yeah, this article was written like 7 years ago, Graham.
It's boomer
All dressed
news.
up. It's all dressed up. Wait.
All right, I can't
Dude,
find any numbers, but
how
I
you
see a
gonna
lot of
do
lists,
this?
and they're on all these BuzzFeed lists. So I'll take your word for it.
Don't you want to click through
Canada-
the slides?
Thanks, Jamie.
No, I don't want to click, click next, click.
Add.
What do I-
wait
what do I
30
pay you
seconds.
for? It's called the Joe Rogan Show. What do you think I could fucking pay you for, Jamie? Click through that shit right now.
Click. Let's just look at this for a moment. No, go back. Speaking of last thing, Grant, since you mentioned it, Joe Rogan, did you see in a previous
I also
podcast?
said Joe Rogan Show instead of Joe Rogan Experience. My bad. Sorry.
They're going to cancel you. Did you, I mentioned in a previous podcast, Bo Burnham's Inside Outtakes was an hour long. Did you watch that? No? Okay. Well,
I
maybe
didn't
on a future
respond yet.
podcast. You just stared
No, I
at the
did not.
screen. There's a something maybe related to Joe Rogan in there that I think you would think is hilarious. So I'd recommend checking it
Another reason to watch it. Maybe that's what I'll watch next week.
out. You got a different assignment, which we'll talk about later. But what are we doing today, Grant? Let's get into it.
I actually don't know. What did you guys watch this week?
Well, I think you picked this one. You
Ciudad. It's Ciudad de Deus. It's like 3 days. Ciudade de Deus.
Ciudad.
Ciudade
Ciudad
de
de
Deus.
Dos.
Deus.
Deus. Is that how you say it?
Deus. Yeah, Deus.
Deus.
Ciudad
City of God.
de
It's the city
Deus.
of
Zeus.
Deus.
Zeus.
So
Like,
what is that? That's a movie. City of God, 2002.
well, wait, we were supposed to do Framed.
We got off topic with that. There, goddamn. I knew there was something. I was like, we should be filling this time with something.
We
And,
were filling it with golden material.
You weren't
And,
getting the hint.
It was
Me?
a lot of
No,
LaCroix
Quinn.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Grant and I were stalling the best we could.
Yeah, we were like, when's Quinn going to bring up Framed? When is he going to bring
I
up
don't think they
Framed?
did.
Gotta think of another weird flavor. Robot Ranch? Alright,
Wow.
Grant, run with it.
Wow.
God,
we're
this
playing
is City of
Framed.
God. No, it's not.
We're looking
Oh,
at
this
the
look- wait,
screen.
wait,
We're
wait.
trying to-
No, this
trying to
looks
guess
like
the
a-
movie right now. So
This looks like the Quinn. What's
It's
the
Logan.
dangerous Clint Eastwood? This is Logan?
bad and taint. What?
Yeah, I was thinking
Logan.
those.
Like the Wolverine movie?
No, I was thinking what I was saying with Clint
Looks-
Eastwood.
The
like,
good,
a
the
lot of
bad,
guys
the
are
good,
ugly,
the
or
bad,
whatever.
ugly. Yeah.
I
You
don't
think it's
know.
Logan?
Try
I
Yeah,
think
it.
good
that's
brother.
black and white.
Try Logan. Just 'cause
Mm.
it's funny.
Alright.
Our first. Oh my God!
Yeah, Pat's got
Who said
this.
that? Pat?
Pat.
Yeah.
Quinn, and I
You
thought
guys
it was-
laughed and said it was
I didn't.
funny.
I didn't. No.
I thought
Pat,
it-
Pat, I did not say. I did
Oh
not
my
think. I was just
God.
about to say. I did not think it was funny. Quinn thought it was a joke.
I just don't know what identifies that movie.
This Wolverine.
Oh, he's in the white beater. I did not see that man there. I only saw
you-
desert and trees and like a treehouse looking thing and a cabin. I didn't see that man there.
Yeah, shoot or shoot.
That's the best goddamn one at this. Go to the sixth picture. What was the last one? Is it literally just Wolverine, some claws? That's Wolverine. Yeah. Batman? Well, that's why we saved Framed, because it was so goddamn quick. Congrats,
Nice
Pat.
job,
That was
Patrick.
actually pretty good.
Pretty good. He got the last one too. He
thought
got
you just-
it.
He
No
did
problem.
Get it. All right. Well, we'll see how he fares next time.
Sorry.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, Grant. What are we doing today?
Ciudad de Deus. City of God. This is a 2002 Brazilian epic crime film directed by Fernando Moraes and Katia Lund, released in Brazil in 2002 and worldwide 2003. It's adapted from a novel of the same name, and it's loosely based on real events. It depicts the growth of organized crime in the Ciudad de Deus, suburb of Rio de Janeiro, between the end of the 1960s and the beginning of the 1980s, with the film's closure depicting the war between the drug dealer Lil Zay and vigilante turned criminal Knockout Ned, which is interesting because I feel like... Anyways, the tagline is, if you run, the beast catches you. If you stay, the beast eats you.
I
I feel like that didn't translate well.
No.
No.
Is it Lil Zay or Lil Z?
Lil Z. I think. Did I say Lil Zay?
I thought it was Zay.
I know it's spelled Z-E, but then on the subtitles, for everything, they just kind of put it as Lil Z. So, and I didn't think of...
I think it's pronounced...
Z.
I don't know Portuguese,
Z.
but Zay. It's like Zay. It wouldn't be Z.
Because I thought it was like Lil D-Zay.
Dice. So they just cut it to Zay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dice.
That was my guess, but I have no
That's
idea.
smart.
Zay. Lil Zay.
Lil Zay.
I'm listening.
Zaytoven.
Pronouncenames.com. Zaytoven. All right, so Lil Zay. All right, that was good to get that, because I would have said Lil Z the entire time. Lil
Mhm.
Zay.
Lil Zay.
So this is a film, Grant, that you and Pat have both seen before. How
Yeah.
many years ago?
It's been a while. I forgot a decent amount of plot. I will say, I think I enjoy this film for the plot a bit, for the realistic depiction of violence in slums, the hopelessness of living in a slum where morality and kind of goes out the window. And really the thing that ties it all together, the cinematography, I think, is absolutely spectacular in this film. Is bright and pulls you in, and each time I feel like I notice the cinematography more, and the methods, and just how well done it is.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a couple of years for you too, Pat.
Yeah, I watched it in high school. I watched it about 8 years ago. Sometime. And what I liked this time on the viewing experience was just how well, they just kind of like showed everything. It's just like a great display of like writing, I thought. Because I feel like you really know these characters well by like what they're doing and like just their interactions day to day, that you can kind of like get a connection with this whole community. Even like, and there are so many different characters that kind of like come and go as they're kind of like chunking through people's lives and different people's stories, and just the time component as well, as they kind of skip around. But like, I feel like you just get like such like a deep look into them. I don't know. I just thought it was really well written.
I'm gonna have to disagree a bit
Okay.
on some of these elements. Where do I start? First of all, Grant, agree with you. I think that was my favorite part of the film. I thought this is a cool looking film. The way they're shooting things, the way the scenes go, they replay the scenes with different angles. They do some
The colors.
colors
I
look
don't know
good.
if you
It's
guys
a-
noticed,
it's a
like,
piece-
it started with very cool, and then a flashback, the whole, like, beginning slums is very warm and kind of barren and in the actual slums, and then it goes back to the 70s, kind of the present moments, back to with cool colors again.
I guess their developments were upgraded kind of, because in the 60s it looked a certain way, and as 10 years later it looked a lot different, and maybe that's a combination of the colors things in addition to actual infrastructure upgrades.
They also had, like, the way they passed that time from the past to the future. They would do, like, they show little Dice, like, little Zay, like, growing up, like dun, 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 and like him getting older, and I
Mm-hmm.
think they did it with like him shooting people, like a montage,
Mm-hmm.
him killing people, and then he gets older, and then
Older
they had a
and
middle
older.
actor, and then it was like present day, which, I mean, I just thought it was very clever. One of my favorite pieces of cinematography or tools was when it was still in the slums and they fire the shot and it ricochets and then goes and then it hits them. It's basically looks like it's going to hit Rocket, I think, and then it hits the mirror instead of the side mirror of the car. I don't know. There's just a lot of things.
Like
It
in
actually,
Shrek. I'm just-
no,
that's the first thing that came-
it reminds me of Spike Lee's do the Right Thing, where the colors are very vibrant, very like in your face in a way, or it's confronts you. It's not a passive viewing, you know. It's very kind of in your face, like almost like you can't escape it. Maybe this is symbolic of the slums, right? Like, yeah, there's no way, like,
Yeah,
you
it's
don't have to
violence.
engage, but like you're gonna fucking see it. It's gonna be in your face no matter what.
Yeah, I think that's where the line gets a little, well, the viewing gets a little weird for me because it seems like a lot of why people enjoyed it, I mean, aside from cinematography and editing, is, you know, in this shocking depiction of, you know, poverty, basically. And I thought it may be better suited as, you know, a documentary piece. And then I started thinking, like, what's the difference between a movie and a documentary? Like, what, you know, what is the purpose? Would it have just failed as if you're just going around and filming real life things, and would that not be as compelling or entertaining to an audience? Probably not. People don't want to like watch just poor kids be poor. You know, there's got to be an element of suspense or drama or action. So I don't think I was too thrilled about that.
What do
The
you mean?
characters.
Yeah, like
What do
Yeah.
you
mean?
said
Why
you
were
weren't.
you not? Yeah, why were you not thrilled about it being more entertaining and gripping?
Well, it's kind of like creating something and like exaggerating. It's a piece of fiction, so you know when you shoot a documentary and you're you know you're just, this is reality. You go, oh my God, this is 100% true to an extent. You could fudge some things, but like if the message of the film is just to be like shocking and like open your eyes, like, is a movie the best medium for that?
I think showing this sort of I don't think the gang violence was exaggerated. I don't think the like the visualization or showing how it was. I thought it did a great job at showing what it probably was like to live in the slums. I don't think it was going over the top in that sense. I think it was a movie, and the characters and the plot and the way it all connected, maybe. I mean, but still, Lil Zay and Knockout Ned, from my understanding, existed and fought each other, and that is true.
I don't have any problem with it. I think I have more issues saying, like, you know, this is like a masterpiece, or like this is like the epitome of film. It's more like, oh, this was a good film. This was, you
Well,
know, a 7
okay,
or 8
yeah.
versus like, I just hear a lot of, I mean, you read a lot of very praising reviews, and you go,
I haven't read any
Okay.
reviews on this. Honestly, I just think it's one of my favorite films personally, and I think that's fair. That's fair. I just
Yeah.
think I think I've been
what
caught
drew me
in
yeah.
I guess I've been caught in a predicament where you have high expectations for something and you hear it's talked up, and that can end up ruining the film. And I wonder, do you
There may
think
have been
that
a
could have been the case for you?
I mean, anything IMDb, what, number 22, you go, ooh, all right, you go into it with a little bit of an expectation. I think.
Yeah.
But I can see why people like it, and I think there are some elements. We're watching all these Hollywood movies. You don't really know how to describe it, but it's like, all right, I see the same camera styles and see the same like shooting, editing techniques, even though we might not know the names for it and we're not experts in it. But like with this one, you're like, oh wow, it's a breath of fresh air. Like they're doing that. That was cool and that looked great. But as far as like as a story, it just didn't hit that hard for me. Going back to
Were you not I thought Rocket's story was like my favorite storyline.
well, we don't. I feel like we don't even get to know Rocket. Like Rocket's this guy.
He narrates the whole thing.
He narrates it, and he's kind of like this vehicle. I felt like the movie was less about him versus, I mean, even Knockout Ned. He's kind of got a pretty important last storyline in the last half.
Yeah, when this came out and when I saw it, I think maybe I think it's been very influential, as these top movies are, and maybe some of the cinematography or the way the story's told is not as impressive as it could have been when it came out. For me, even when it came out, it was so realistic in violence that it took me aback, because when in 2002 you think about like the films you're seeing, you're seeing like Born Identity and stuff, and like there's fight scenes,
The Matrix,
and shootouts, and Matrix, and no one's dying really, and there's guns going, but the stakes
Hollywood.
are like, it's always very Hollywood. This is like, you shoot someone, they're fucking dead. It's done, dude. Over. And that to me was like the thing that really was like the first thing I was like, wow, this movie is like really doing a good job. Like, violence is not romantic. Violence is not cool. Violence is short and you're fucking dead. Like, it's scary, it's short, it's brutal, it's one shot, and that's your friend's life, or that's your life, or that's the person you want to kill. They're dead. And I thought, now you think about like, I don't know, The Boys, for example, is absolutely insane in terms of the sensationalism of violence. But I think this was one of the first that it was showing the brutality of violence without sensationalizing it,
Mm-hmm.
I'd agree with that.
I want to hear your thoughts, Pat.
I wanted to talk to them about the. Oh yeah, I mean.
Well, I feel like Rocket's lack of characterization is intentional, because he's like the photographer, He's showing the story.
The lens.
Yeah, it shouldn't have him in it,
He is in there, and I know you said earlier that you thought like knew the characters very well. And I was going to say the opposite thing. I thought, there's so many people in play, and they each get some screen time that you don't really know. Why is Lil Zay or Lil Dice, why is he the way he is compared to other people? You don't.
Fucked up individual, bro.
Well, I feel like that's where I actually like it, because like they don't say how people become how they are. They just kind of like show who they are,
As you would, right? Like,
yeah.
I enjoy characters, and like I enjoy like the flashbacks and like Mad Men, right? Don Draper. You like learn about his upbringing. You're like, oh fuck, all right, that's why he's kind of a piece of shit. But I do agree with Pat in this. It's like, dude, Lil Dice, all you have to know, or Lil Zay, is like all you have to know is he fucking likes to kill people, and he fucking slaughtered and went in and had a blast
As a little kid.
Literally, slaughtering people when he was 12. Like, you don't need to know more than that for this story.
But I don't know how those two things you said, like I don't know how those can reconcile. How is it good in the Don Draper thing flashback?
Because
seeing that.
that's a television series that goes over 7 years, one, And
just in
and-
character building. Just like, how can you say it? For this character, I like seeing.
To me,
background.
and and I'm kind of thinking through this out loud. So
Yeah, of course.
My first kind of thought is the speed of the film. I think goes with this. It's like there is no fucking point you're resting in the slums in this movie. It is going nonstop into the next thing. It's like every single thing is like, dude, you're not learning about anyone's fucking life story. You're trying to live and get through the moment. And I feel like cinematography again did a really good job. You're just fucking, oh fuck, wait, are you kidding me? Like more shit? We can just keep on going. And I think everything that you have criticized so far, I think it has been intentional. I don't think they missed an opportunity to focus on the characters more and characterization more, and then they forgot or they missed it. I think.
Yeah, every piece of work. I mean, the movie could be 8 hours. And be like, how did Rocket's middle school? Like,
I get with Rocket, I see a little bit. Like I remember, I really enjoy that arc in previous watches, and it comes really late. I mean, it's literally the last like 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes of the film.
But he kind of
goes
like
into a
starts it
little
off
bit.
too, like
He
with
does.
his
yeah.
brother and his dad and kind of his family.
is his brother's name Goose? Goose is the one that gets
Goose.
killed.
Mm-hmm. And like I feel like slums they don't care about your backstory. You're here, you're in
Yeah.
like the Coliseum, and like it's cutthroat.
And that's why I think it's rare to use your cinematography and storytelling and like take like you have this story, and I think what Pat just said is like it feels, at least to me, very intentional. Like, all right, in the slums, like we're not going to get into the characters. It's not just telling a story about the slums. It's really using the camera to like enhance that and to put you in that experience almost. Like, yeah, you're not going to know about the fucking story. What you're not going to D-Say as a fucking if he's mad at you, you're fucked. That's all you need to know about Lil Zay, right? Like,
Right, which is why there's like the difference between a movie and a piece of. I mean, if it's just a video that shows a lot of violence, what is that doing to a viewer?
do you not feel? I mean, there's definitely stakes.
Yeah, there are. I'm just like I said, I like the movie. I'm just pointing out some of the criticisms when I've read both terrible reviews, great reviews. I like to see what everybody's point is, and I think some people, I mean,
I want to hear some of the criticism because I haven't read any reviews, to be honest.
well, I'd say it's more in line with what I previously said. I think there is a lack of. I mean, you brought up counter arguments to why there's a lack of character. I don't want to call it development, but characters
Why
don't.
not?
I guess it is character development because it's not. May not be character development in the most traditional sense. You don't get a lot of motives for a lot of actions people take in the films. Why is one person grow up one way and one person grows up the other way if they're in the same area?
We all grew up in Ohio, and we're all vastly different, right?
I
We,
mean,
we all had relatively the same socioeconomic background.
yeah, I
right.
think we're more similar than we are different.
I think our personalities are radically different, right? Like, I don't know. Interests, personalities. Like, I think if you put us all in a slum, we'd all be fucking different. Like, I think.
I mean, yeah, I mean, but why
I
does
don't
someone want to, peace and love versus? I mean, why is Lil Zay the way he is? I mean, we can just chalk that up to he's a
Yeah.
sociopath. I don't
There-
think
I
that's,
mean,
in
maybe
the
he
slums-
didn't have. I don't think we ever saw his parents ever. So that's a clue, right? No parentals, like no parents in
we
your
didn't see
life
a lot of
ever.
Parents. I mean, for a lot of people.
That's true. That's true.
in the city of God, there are just a large amount of people who have absolutely no moral compass because it's a
dog eat
the
dog
worst
world.
place. Yeah, you know, you grow up seeing what helps you. You know, violence, aggression, not playing by the rules. That's what you emulate. You gotta. That's your moral compass. You know.
So is it entertaining to you as a viewer just to see a lot of violence and drug selling and this shock factor like I was talking about before? Like, oh wow, it's a lot different than my life. This is good. This is wow. I didn't think about this.
I mean, I think about it like it's a extremist way of living, but it's like I think it's interesting. Yeah.
I just go
Some
back to
people's
stories I
lives,
like.
dude.
But
Well, it's
like
not, it's
like
not
movies.
supposed to entertain you. It's like I think it's
No,
like a
that-
window into how extreme living in the slums in some parts of the world is. I don't
Well,
think
if it
I don't
wasn't
think the
entertaining, you
violence
wouldn't
I don't think
watch
the
it. It's
violence,
not-
drug selling and is exaggerated at all. I think that's like that, especially during those times. It's like you're seeing people killed, you're seeing your friends killed, your brother killed. It's a fucking war. It's riots. It's
Right, which makes for a good. I mean, it's shocking, which makes it entertaining to people. But as far as like a story, you know, a lot of my favorite movies, maybe your favorite movies or TV shows, you know, there's a story involved. There are arcs. There's not like just rapid fire killing and shooting. I'm playing a little devil's advocate. I'm just kind of.
I mean, they do kind of go through like different story. The stories are about like how different people like make it there. You know, they talk about Ned. They talk about, you know, what were the Tender Trio, or what were the first three people called?
yeah. I think it's the Tender Trio.
Tender Trio, yeah.
Then they talk about,
The
you know,
runts.
Lil. Yeah, well, you know, so they're just showing like these different stages, you know, of gangs.
Yeah, to
And how
me,
they're
it's
formed,
not.
how they're run, how they end.
I think that's true. I think I was just looking for more of maybe a smaller core group or individuals that you would be part of as like a viewer. We got a lot of different people going on, and everyone's got a nickname. Everyone's going left and right.
Did you
drugs and
struggle to
shooting.
follow the story?
No, I know what the I know what the story is.
You brought up the names a lot.
I just said everyone has a nickname, right? They don't really use real names.
Sure.
Sticking.
But what is so what?
There's a lot. I just said there's a lot of nicknames. There's a
It's
lot
an-
of names.
Yeah, it's kind of like an epic, you know. There's just like a large cast of characters, and this may not be the best format for that to be portrayed. Quinn doesn't like it.
That's fine. Yeah.
He needs to simmer with the characters.
I need to simmer that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, for me, it's like it's not. It's a story of. It's called City of God. It's a story about the slums. It's not. It's a collection of characters. It's not. Yeah, it's not supposed to focus on one character. It's everything, and I think it's the bleakness of slums. You know, like, did you not like when?
But why
when
does
Benny-
that here, Grant? Why does that make something good?
What do you mean?
Like why does seeing like you know, poverty-stricken, crazy violence, why does that make something good in your eyes?
I don't know what your question is.
Like you really like the show, you really like the movie, but if there are no, you know, dramatic elements in terms of a story, and it's just this senseless, you know, morality depraved killing, why does that make
It's
it
not. It's not senseless. It's. I think for me, it's like it is interesting from a like the reason why I enjoy characters is from like a psychological standpoint, and to see what we were talking about is like when you're in a slum environment, like a lot of this stuff goes out the window. Like even how they were talking about like Knockout Ned, who is peace love, right? He's still broke. Like he still fell like victim to the city of God. Like, and then the day it's probably gonna
Right,
it's
which-
gonna take you. You can't escape it like that. How is that not interesting? That's
No, but
the
that is
showing.
a character development. That's a good part.
I never said I don't like character development. I
No,
love
but
character
you're
development.
talking
I
about Lil
love
Zay,
characters.
like
Yeah.
who's just bad because he's bad. He's in the slums and he just kills people. Like, why is his character good then?
Well, what do you mean good?
I thought
His character is bad, right? Like, what do you mean, dude? Like,
No,
I
no,
just
I mean,
don't-
in terms of a art appeal.
because he's so devious. It's like shocking, his young.
He's not that one-sided too. He's friends with Benny.
Yeah, that's an interesting
Yeah,
relationship.
he's friends with Benny. He grows up. He is like fucked up to the point where like he's killing older kids, right? Like he thinks he's too smart, right? And he thinks he knows better. He can't talk to girls. He has an insecurity. No, he's insecure deep down, right? And he doesn't have love, and his only love is Benny. And after Benny died, he's the senseless killer, right? Like he was not the senseless killer until Benny died, and then he's the senseless killer
don't think
because
so?
he lost the only grounding thing. Yeah, Benny grounded him and
Benny-
brought him
yeah.
back, and he listened to Benny.
Yeah.
He listened to Benny.
What about at the motel?
Benny wasn't there.
Yeah.
Can't say if Benny. I mean that.
Well, that was his
as far
first
as
taste.
There was
for-
no. But
I
if
think
Benny
it was-
was at the motel, he probably
Yeah.
wouldn't have done that.
Definitely.
So it is like a
I-
grounding.
I don't know. If
And
it's
I
more
think
like-
he knows that deep down to keep Benny alongside him, right? Like deep down. Like, and for you, you obviously have missed the Lil Zay development because that whole thing is very
no,
much an
I
art
mean,
for me.
What you still didn't.
You kept on
explain
saying he's
the
senseless,
hotel.
senseless killing, senseless
No,
killing.
I'm repeating what you're saying.
Well, is that just that one scene? Is the like why is that one scene so problematic for you? Because
Which
it
one
seems
scene?
like the motel.
No, I'm
Seems like
asking
there's a
about
problem
that.
for you. Yeah, why? What's wrong with it?
You're saying he's a
I'd
good
like
guy
this.
or a bad guy?
Huh?
Is he a good guy or a bad guy at that time?
He's an antagonist the entire movie.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I don't know what you're saying. I mean,
Bad. Lil
you're
Zay,
talking
bad.
about an arc that you're not getting to the point of. Like, if I say he does have character development, you say he doesn't. And if I say he does, then you say he doesn't. Or whatever, the first one.
He's bad, but he's balancing on the edge with
Yeah,
Benny. And then after Benny's gone, he goes fucking psycho.
And we can see like with the whole scene with the girl is like, and Benny's like, dude, you need a girl. You need
Yeah.
a girl. And then guess what? He listened to Benny, and then he got rejected because he's not that good looking.
And then Benny
What did that
dies.
do, dude? He's like a teenager, and he's shut down. He's insecure. This
Grant,
girl
Grant,
just shut him
you're-
down, and then what?
You're missing like years of killing. Like, sure, they get to a point where like things are good and they're like, oh, we don't do innocent killings in the slum. That's because he murdered everybody up until that point, and Benny's been around the whole time.
Yeah, but I mean, they were making by, right? They were trying to survive, and I think for you to be like, this is just senseless violence. I think is like, honestly, I don't like to pull this card, but it's like, dude, it's like a privileged thing. Like, you don't control what you fucking need to do in those slums to live. Like, you have no fucking choice. And if you're good at killing and you have like a numbness for violence, then you're gonna fucking use that to your
And you're
advantage.
smart.
You can't say,
And you're smart.
You can't say some like none of the deaths are senseless killings. You
No,
just
they
said he goes psycho
No.
at the end and he kills from.
But he has a natural numbness for violence that most people are like.
Isn't that
revolted
senseless
by.
killing?
No, not necessarily. He until like I don't think the senseless killing started until the slum gang war between him and Carrot after Bane died. Then the narrator already like basically tells you that it's like no one remembers even when the like how the war started, and the only thing they're doing is to buy guns to take over properties to get more money so they can buy more guns and do the same thing, right? That's where that's where senseless killing starts.
I wholeheartedly disagree, but
I think you missed the point of the movie.
Grant, I think you missed the movie. I mean, they like he's killing for years, and you just said he's numb to killing. I don't understand how that's
in
not
the sense,
senseless killing.
It's not
No,
senseless though.
senseless means there's no point in his killing. His killing is to move up and make
Yeah.
it in the world.
If someone pisses him off, he just shoots them.
He's sure, I guess. I mean, like when you talk about reputation and making it in the slums and everything matters, and he has. So the reason why he killed Goose is because he set up the plan, right? He has this ego, and then Goose comes and takes all of his profit that he need. Like he just went through all this, made a score.
I agree with that.
Okay,
So
so,
who's
is that
the
senseless killing?
killing?
From they have a whole flashback or a series of people that he kills that are unnamed and.
But they,
Or in the movie.
the way they portrayed it is that that's him making by, and they showed him in the city, and this is his heist, and then he switches from heist to drug dealing. That was like the whole thing. Remember, he learned, he was at the party,
Yeah.
he looked, he saw who has money, how do I get that money? Because I've been killing people, I've been doing all this, I've been trying to make by, and I'm still not fucking loaded. I want to be loaded, and then he got into drug dealing, and then he got loaded because he took over that shit.
And that's why him and Carrot are enemies, because that's the last person he couldn't take over.
I agree. Yeah, if you want to kill someone to take their money, sure, that's fine. I'm just saying that wasn't triggered at the very. There wasn't a switch to like, now I'm just gonna kill for fun at the end of the film. That was
No, Benny. I
pervasive.
mean, there was a huge change in Lil Zay's behavior after Benny died. In
Yeah.
my opinion, I thought that
Yes.
was pretty clear.
I think there
So
were
that was
changes
the,
even
that was
before
the killing.
I don't think
I
he,
think-
he went from point A to point B and then
What?
that was the end. Like, it's like a roller coaster. You know, sometimes you're like, damn, I hate him. And you're like, damn, I see what he's doing. Or then, oh, I don't know how I feel about that one.
I thought it was pretty logical his arc, but maybe
So,
I don't know. It didn't, I wasn't confused. I didn't think it was ridiculous.
so are you rooting for him or are you not rooting?
Or who? Why does it matter?
Because it's a story. I don't know. Because if
Doesn't
it
matter
wasn't,
what
then
I'm
you,
rooting for or not.
I'm
All
just
right.
watching.
Yeah. It's.
I don't know what's
like-
gonna happen.
I think that it's like
well, you can choose to
anti-hero,
watch a
but
lot of
it's-
things.
I mean, you're not. I'm not like particularly rooting for him, especially I've seen the film already. Like, I think he is a byproduct of this violent upbringing. in
Well,
the
then that would
slums.
mean if he's doing what he needs to do, then you would usually root for that character.
You can't tell me who I'm rooting for, bro. Like, that's not an
I
argument
didn't-
on this film.
I
Like,
asked you, and you didn't give me an answer, so I'm just talking out loud.
But I don't think you're really.
I don't think that's a criticism. I don't think you should use like who I'm rooting for or how I'm feeling to like talk about the to criticize the film.
Saying people are entertained by movies and stories because, you know, they're invested in the characters. If nothing matters to you,
What you're saying is you weren't invested in the characters. Like, I don't know why you got to like pull it back and say people like this and people
So-
need entertainment.
Lil Zay is not someone who we are invested in because the story is not about him. The story is about the city. And we like when the city is peaceful. That feels good. Lil Zay was a vehicle to move it towards, you know, a place where, you know, there weren't kids running around with guns. But then there was another conflict where Lil Zay, you know, was involved in that, and the city went in a decline and ends on a bad note where it's like the same place where it started, where people are just running around with guns and it's
Yeah,
lawless.
I thought what you just, you know, that peaceful period was actually, that's very interesting, right? And that's like kind of how the mafia is operated too,
Yeah.
right? That insight is like, or when America invaded Afghanistan, Iraq, is like, we actually, you know, like, but the Taliban actually provided a good kind of peace order because everyone's fucking terrified of them, right? And that is geopolitical, like that's interesting, right, to me.
Yeah.
And we see that little piece in there, which is, you know, I'm sure true. And
Brought
then
through
you are
by
rooting
violence.
for him, you know. I mean, you're understanding and you're like, oh shit, like, okay, it's not just violence is bad necessarily. This dude does have codes, right? He
Yeah.
does have rules in his head, and he said that to Benny. He's like, if you raise a snake, you'll get bit. You know, like the
Yeah.
dude has codes in his head, values that he built up, and they could be fucked up.
And he was trying to get
but-
it to
Isn't
this
that the
place
guy he
where
was gonna
like,
kill? Like, if Benny wasn't there, he was gonna kill that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he snitched, or what did he do? He betrayed him.
Okay.
I think it was Carrot's guy. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, he was definitely going to kill that guy. But Benny stopped him, his moral kind of grounding.
Yeah.
I'm just not for this, ends justify the means. We're like,
I don't think, but I think the whole point is in a slum that you have no fucking choice. You can't choose if you buying in or buying out, bro. Like, the ends justify the fucking means.
The
I'm not talking
means
about
are
the
any
story. I mean, I'm not saying that's an inaccurate part of the story. I'm just saying you're like.
It sounds like you don't like
Seems
slum
like you're-
life, which is fine. Like,
No, it sounds like
you
you're
know-
okay with like murdering people to justify something. Like, I mean, it
What?
has to happen. It's not a good thing.
I've never said
You're-
it's like I said. This film shows the bleakness of slums,
Yeah.
and there's no winning. Everyone fucking loses at the end of the day.
Everyone dies.
Yeah, it's tragic, and that's people's lives, right? Like, I mean, insight
It's-
into that, and it allows you to
it-
empathize, but not agree with, right? That's hard to do, right? Like, you empathize, you're like, shit, dude. Like, I can't even imagine growing up in that environment. If
Yeah.
I was thrown in there, it's like, I don't know what my behavior
would I do?
be. Yeah, what would I fucking do?
The
Would
most
I
popular-
be Rocket? Would I be Jose? Would I be Benny? Like, what's going? And you
Yeah.
don't. You know, you don't have a choice when you're in that. You're just fucking go
Depends.
go.
Do you have a dad like Rocket who is strict, or do you have no
Or a
one?
brother who's
Yeah.
who's gets killed because he's in it, right? Like,
Yeah.
So do you
But-
think you'll watch this? Yeah.
One of the most popular genres for, storytelling is a dystopia. And like we are given, quote unquote insight into like probably one of the most dystopic real world examples, and kind of throw in a couple different slices of life of how it runs. But like,
Do you think you'll watch this film again, even after you've seen it? Like, will you watch
oh
it?
yeah, this is probably one of my top 3 films.
What are you looking to gain from the film on a subsequent watch?
I don't know if I'm always rewatching for gain of value.
So you're rewatching. I mean, but let's not think of this movie. Why do we rewatch other movies? I mean, usually.
I don't know. This is where I get a little. I don't. Who cares why I want to rewatch it again?
Okay,
right?
then
That's
I
not.
want
That's
to
not.
ask the question.
I just don't think that's the criticism of the film. If I want to rewatch it again, I have reasons.
I said.
enjoy it.
I just said, will you rewatch it? Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And I said why, and you said I'm not going to tell you. And
Okay, so I
treated.
rewatched Mad Men, and really I rewatch it, and I learned, like, I don't know the value I'm gonna get going in again, but I pick up on things that I missed the first
That's good.
times, and I enjoy it. So like, but I think that's every rewatch. That's why I think I'm just poking holes in the questions, because you don't really know. You're in the mood to watch it. You watch it again. One, it's entertaining and it's interesting, and 2, you're probably gonna pick up on things that you missed because you were too focused on the plot, right? And I think you could say that about any rewatch. I just think it's an uninteresting question.
okay. Do you think it's
I-
different than any other? Film. Cause
Yeah, I think the cinematography is I don't know many films off the top of my head that would compare. Do the Right Thing was similar in cinematography, but that's the only movie I could think off the top of my head that has such a vibrant, like abrasive, almost aggressive cinematography style, which I enjoy.
Okay. Wasn't that hard of a question?
Quinn, I feel like if we went into this with like Godfather, you're like, there's too much, violence. Like I
I
didn't.
haven't seen Godfather, but
But we're like going into like a gangster movie, and you're like, you're
It's not
criticizing
about-
it for like it's
It's not the excessive violence. It's the lack of, compelling plot and characters.
Yeah, I think you missed it. And
I-
I think there's a reason why this is top 25 movies of all time on IMDb, and potentially you maybe missed the. Maybe you were looking for too big of a plot, and maybe you missed what's between the lines and the subtlety of these maybe smaller arcs of many people who you can follow all of them. And I think what me and Pat were saying is like, you kind of self-reflect on like, where would I end up? You know, am I in between? Am I Rocket? Am I Benny? Am I Lil Zay? Like, I hope I'm not Lil Zay. Like, that's, you know, like, but I have a hard. It feels like your stance is like movie has too much violence and senseless. I just find it hard to believe that.
I just said the exact opposite.
You said the plot's not compelling.
Yeah, I didn't say it's a lack of. I didn't say it's excessive violence.
Well, you said sense. Okay, throughout this, you have many times talking about this. Do you just enjoy senseless violence? Do you just enjoy senseless violence? Why is senseless violence? Are you like? Doesn't that like? It sounds like you just want violence, and violence is good. You said that many times throughout this, right? Like,
It did kind of seem like you were implying that there was too much violence.
yes.
No, I'm asking you the question
What question?
about the violence. 'Cause you're like, this movie doesn't hold back. I mean, it just kind of shoves it in your face. And I'm asking if you enjoy that, or is it?
I enjoy the authenticity.
It has nothing to do with me.
Well, you brought it up so many times about the sense of violence. I think it is reflecting of about how you took in the violence a little bit.
I'm like an interviewer.
I think you're a bad interviewer. At least
Your bias is showing.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop asking questions.
No, I mean, I think I don't. I mean, there's nothing wrong with you not enjoying the film, but it feels like you're almost criticizing and saying the plot. You know, you didn't. I
thought it was a good film, Grant. I thought it was a good film.
I just like almost don't believe you. From what
All right, all right.
like I would
It
rewatch
doesn't
the
matter
podcast.
whatever I say, because I guess I've missed the film, and I can't say my opinion that I liked the film, but I like to argue with Grant, and he just doesn't believe anything I say. So
That's not what I'm saying. It's my feeling has come off that you are really trying to poke holes in why I like the film. You're asking
I'm
why
trying to
I
figure
enjoy the
out
film.
any film.
Because you don't have
Listen to
that
me.
context of you
Listen
liking
to
it,
me.
right? Like,
Listen to me. No, that's not it. Any
Why do you
film
like
that's
the film?
top 25
why do you
on
like the
IMDb?
film? Why do you like the film?
What?
Why do you?
I
like
told
the
you
film?
I thought it was great cinematography, great editing. I was in it. I enjoyed what I was entertained by those elements. I'm saying that, for any film that's top 25 out of all fucking time, like why is it on this top list? What are these specific reasons? I think part of why we do the podcast is like when people come away with stuff and they say, I like that, or I didn't like that movie, and then you're not really challenged to think about like, what are the exact reasons why you like or dislike the film. And I'm just trying to dive into like, if it's a masterpiece to some, why is it a masterpiece to some? I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a master. I mean, I've been watching this. This is probably the third or fourth time I've watched this film over the last, I don't know, 6 years or so. When it was college. Yeah, maybe 7 years. And I've fucking loved it every single time, and I'm just blown away every single time I watch it.
So, personally, I thought they do a great job managing the cast with how many different perspectives they give. So I think that's hard to do and make it feel like you actually know each of the characters. So that's kind of like my first point. Second point, dystopias, those are always super, like, people love to go see them because it kind of gives, I don't know, you're not there, but it's kind of fun to experience. So we're basically thrown into like a Hunger Games scenario in Brazil.
Yeah.
With drugs and guns being the...
More realistic, even.
Yeah.
More dystopic in a way.
Yeah. And I think they actually... I think it's just I don't know. I thought they told the story super well. Like I felt like the plot was compelling, and like I loved each of the little like, you know, the different sections, the different characters. I just liked it all. And on top of like beautiful shots, and I like the music a lot too.
Yeah. I guess, like, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, Quinn, but I feel like this film's probably not for everyone. And your line of questioning, I'll rewatch it and re-listen to this, but I would encourage you to do the same, because it really sounds like you have a lot of problems with the film. And I understand now more of the context is you're saying, well, I like it, it's good, but why does it deserve to be this masterpiece level? And maybe that's where you've been coming from, and I'll re-listen to it. But I watched it with my roommate, and he was not, I don't think, enjoying it really, and was really just saying this is a lot. There's a lot of violence, and there's a lot of violence, and I think that can be overwhelming. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if that violence is like, what's the fucking point? I think that's kind of the point of it, is to put you in, to get that thought in your head. Like, there's nothing that justifies this level of fucking violence. Like, this is not good for anyone here. This is just a cycle of violence. And you see the violence actually got worse with the runts. Like, they're even more fucked up than Lil Zay, right? Their whole last scene is they're saying they're gonna kill them, like kill them. Like, you think Lil Zay probably came from there? I mean, maybe that's a hint,
I think
right?
he did,
like,
yeah.
Well, yeah,
I think it's the
that's
same.
the message, is the
Yeah,
cycle of
so-
violence. They seem
Yeah, so
similar.
how do you explain? I mean, we did see the runs, so like, can't you? So you were critical of not seeing Lil Zay's background, but can't you just make that small jump of little kids the same age of Lil Zay committing atrocious violence acts, where you have more insight into why they're doing it? It's because one of their friends was killed, right? When they
can
were a
make the
kid,
jump.
and okay, cool.
It's I see what you're saying, Grant.
Yeah.
I just don't want to confuse or muddle, like, it's not the violence, it's just the shock, I don't want to call it the shock factor either, just the overwhelming oh my god factor. This is so different with just being blatantly good. Like, that's what makes it good, because that's not what makes it good. It's a good film. Damn, we didn't even get time. I don't know. There's a lot of shit to talk about this film. They didn't even use. I mean, everyone's like a real person too. I don't.
No actors.
Yeah, they just said they couldn't get any black actors at the time, and I think the only real actor was Carrot. And that
Which
probably
is that's like what's the word I'm looking for? That's like a huge indicator of realism. Like, realism started in Italy. I don't know exactly what years, but the realism film movement, and one of the primary indicators or characteristics of that movement was not using any paid actors. And so this is similar in that sense.
Which is weird to think about. I don't really have an opinion, but you have real people. They're living in the slums. Definitely makes them, real. But then at the same time, you're, directing a story, and cameras, and you're saying lines. Which,
well, it's just doing its best attempt to that's one step closer to realism, right?
But
You're making a movie.
Well, isn't the argument that maybe a professional trained actor could act the part better than a real person is trying to act as a character?
I fucking hated Nomadland, and now Nomadland was that, and I despised.
That was a bad story. That was like, oh boy.
That had real people in it too, but in the weirdest way. Like, I thought that was way worse.
Well,
Imagine if it was all OG people, like, and even if it was directed, like, I would have cut it a lot more slack. But the fact is,
all OG except her?
yeah, I think.
Was it?
Which just was bad.
Weird.
I think.
Just remember her shitting in a
But
bucket.
so like and the reason why I really dislike that film versus this film is the cinematography is not trying at all to be like a documentary. Like you would never be confused for 1 second that this is like a fictional
Piece
like
of
creation, right? Like versus that they shot it in a way that it was like uncanny valley where you're like, is this, they're like interviewing her, but she's a fucking actor, like she'd be talking about her van and stuff. And you're like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, this is not a documentary. What the
It's very
fuck?
weird.
I
Very
did not like
weird.
that film.
That was pre-Gabby Petito. That's when van life was cool, man.
That's when the
Something-
elites thought van life was cool, so they pumped a bunch of money into that movie and it won an Oscar.
Something. Well, we know, I don't know what episode we had, but all that affirmative action, whatever, diversity, inclusion stuff that's coming up. I think it's 2024. Might be wrong, but that was one of my
What?
favorite episodes. When we went through the document, it's like half the cast needs to be like underrepresented or something in
Oh.
order to qualify for Best Picture. So
Is
I'm
that
just
a thing now?
2024.
remember we went. I think it's
Yeah.
going to take them some time to implement. I don't think it's out yet, but I'm sure
Seems
it'll lead to more
problematic.
great stuff like Nomadland.
You know what I say?
Coda,
is like
Coda.
the more restrictions on a creative medium, the better. Just restrict.
That's the best.
Create, yeah, that's how you get really creative, really, just impressive original films.
We have to
Restrictions.
have we have to
if we
flesh out
don't-
this cast with an Asian female.
Yeah, we don't have any
Dude, imagine
Asians.
like City of God with like half Asian cast in Brazil. You couldn't tell this story. Well, I guess I don't know. Is it like it's a minority American group, which is also weird because like isn't that so pretentious that you think cinema is only like
in
pertaining to America?
That's
Like,
right.
It's so pretentious.
Yeah, what did they do there?
What
What if
about, like,
everyone's like South Africa is like white and they shoot a film? You know what?
Parasite was supposed to have like white people in it.
Just one like random white like sibling.
I'm a English
Doesn't even know
teacher.
Korean.
Yeah, can like would that be qualified?
Like,
Or
maybe
since
not,
whites
I don't
are
know.
minorities in Korea, like don't they need some whites?
There were all sorts of rules. It was like if the cast doesn't, you look at the writing team. I'm sure people will find some ways to weasel their way into that nomination. So
It got a little heated. It was hot.
I like when it gets hot. I think that's our best episodes when it gets hot. Is it
Quinn was like, "I have no opinions. I apparently can't talk." I was being a little hard on you though.
This is why we do this. This is why we have this podcast. But it's about that time for the G&Q Patented Review, where we decide whether the true rating of City of God is over or under the IMDb rating. And Grant's doing a little. I like that graphic. He's doing it.
Yeah.
If we had a
Under.
like an arrow up, arrow down sort of thing. All 746,000 votes, the most we've seen in a long time.
Fuck, almost a million votes.
Almost a million, and
Well,
it's an
or-
8.6.
Wow, that's not as high as I thought. I'm gonna.
You're
I
an
thought
over,
it's-
Grant?
I
Okay.
mean, I abused you in my reasonings, so I don't have any more.
We've left it all on the table.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! All right, I'm gonna go under. I
Kick him out.
Grant. Oh my god, he actually kicked me out. As much as Grant doesn't believe me, I did think this was a good film,
Yeah.
and I just like picking holes in people's arguments, or I try to. I did look up, dude. Coda's an 8.0. Oh my god, this movie was definitely better than
Oh,
Coda.
Coda was trash.
I mean, it was a cool movie, and yeah.
I just want to make a disclaimer. Are disclaimers usually like before someone says something, right? Or can you do
You can do either way.
disclaimer? I'm gonna do
You
a
can do it.
Post disclaimer.
disclaimer on Quinn's rating, just for all my Shrek fans out there. Just remember that Q didn't get Shrek. He thought Shrek. He thought the princess falling in love with an ogre was unrealistic.
I'd recommend you, Grant, to go back and listen to
And
the
so
podcast.
if you're a Shrek stan, just keep that in mind. You know, what side is Quinn on really? If he's not Team Shrek.
If I'm not
Should
Team
you
Shrek,
root for Quinn?
that actually, can you believe this, guys? Tomorrow, I sent Grant this before. There's a Shrek Rave 2 going on. It's the second iteration.
Not a Shrek 2 rave?
No, I don't think it's a Shrek 2 rave. It's Shrek Rave 2. It's dumb. Just come have fun. Shrek themed rave round 2, baby. Cool.
Where is
still
that at?
dead. It's at this like
Weird
little-
club. Wait, that's where you saw. Wait, what's his name?
Riff Raff.
Yep.
Riff Raff.
Riff Raff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there, and it's a very
Some meth
sad.
heads.
Well, his concert was sad. I could see it's kind of like a Peabody's vibe. If you guys, is there
Like
there
a
anything that's
bar-
replaced Peabody's? Yeah, we're getting off topic.
Mayhall's is a little bit, but if you would add the
Oh, yeah.
bar like closer to the venue area,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like it's like a large pub almost in a way with a stage,
Mm-hmm.
right?
yeah,
Large
large
bar,
pub. It just happens to
Yeah.
have a stage.
It's a tavern.
It's a tavern.
All right, over under Pat. What are you thinking?
Over. Shit slaps.
2 overs, 1 under. City of Gold.
Ciudad
Overruled.
de Deus.
How do we say it, Grant? Yeah.
Ciudade de Deus.
Deus.
There's 3. Ciudade de Deus.
De. How similar is it to Spanish if you were to say the same?
That's exactly the same.
Oh.
Ciudad de
Ciudad. Actually, I don't know if it's Ciudade or Ciudad.
Ciudad.
Ciudad de Deus.
Deus is God in Spanish.
Yeah, I mean, Deus
Mm-hmm.
Machina, you know, Deus ex Machina.
Mm-hmm.
Like Deus is like deity, like it's a very Latin root for God. It's a
So
root.
2 overs, 1 under. Grant, what can you explain to the listeners, to the viewers, what
I
are we
can't.
doing next week?
I don't know.
can't. I don't.
Well, we don't know.
Well,
As these past years with COVID were really rough on everyone, we really have to sit down,
industry.
including the podcast industry. We really have to sit down and sit with our thoughts and think about what our next steps forward are. And I wish I could tell you more, but really we need to be more mindful about where we're going and who we're impacting
And what we say.
and what we say and who our audience is. So next week, we don't have a movie for you to review.
But you know what we're going to have? LaCroix at our side every step of the way.
Pure.
It's the most delicious carbonated water that any consumer would enjoy. And it's been with me the whole time.
And it will be with us till the end. That's the one constant in our lives. LaCroix.
What if we end the podcast there? No, but we're gonna do a hiatus. We're gonna figure some shit out. Maybe we'll do a rebrand.
We
got
should have
big
ended the podcast right there.
Nope. You gotta tell people the truth. People don't want to be lied to.
We don't know. Yeah, we're doing rebranding. Pat has become the most permanent guest we've had on the podcast. Have we had anyone else as a guest?
It's so easy for someone to be a guest now. We finally got to that point where it's like plug and play. But
I think.
Jackson,
Did we talked about? Did Jackson come on?
I don't know, man. That's might be in the vault somewhere.
Anyways, we're taking a hiatus. Pat's becoming, he's been a very permanent guest, our best friend, Pat, here. And we're kind of getting sick of the visuals that we're kind of locked down a little bit. We love StreamYard, but you kind of locked in. It is plug and play, but it's all you got. You're plugging and you're playing. And if you want to switch your colors, I guess you can.
I need a new logo, new name. I got website stuff. There's a lot of details to figure out. Grant just made all of our things pink. That's what
easy?
we can do. That was easy. So we're gonna take some time. I don't know how long to figure out all of these details, and then we will be back. Maybe. I mean, I'm assuming we'll continue to review some things. I don't.
There might be, yeah. Who knows? I
knows?
mean, our handles might change, or things might happen.
I might transition to
We
a
might
new
transition.
platform. What were you thinking there?
It's a new platform.
LA getting weird.
I swear to God, I've never seen this. This was in Cincinnati. I saw two like furries at the zoo. I've never seen that. I didn't
don't
really
think
know
I-
what to do. But
If
they
I
were
had children, I
decked out.
think I'd be a little. I'd be like, keep on moving, kids.
I didn't know if it was a sexual thing or a gender thing. I was like, I've never seen this
Amazing.
before.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's not. I don't know. I think I watched
Was
like
it
a
just
Vice
a hobby?
documentary on.
You watched this documentary?
This
It's
girl
like
at
a
my
Vice
high school,
documentary.
she would wear a tail and like her.
Yeah, they had the tails. And
Yeah,
nails.
and then
Wait,
her, and
like in high school?
yeah, like to class and stuff, and teachers would be like, you gotta take that off. She was a strange one. Yeah,
All right,
but she,
just,
yeah.
we'll figure that out.
Peace.
All right. Thank you. See you guys.